was loud. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, loud and proud. It's Jay Do, Jesse, and Jonah here for your Infinite Banking Coaching Hour. It's an Ask Me Anything type of experience, back and forth, up and down, left and right, trying to get to the core of your money and cash flow challenges. So we're in studio Thursday afternoon. It is noon plus some Eastern time when we go live here each and every week. We're always a couple minutes behind, but we appreciate you following us on the FB, the YT, and the IG. So if you are out there on YouTube, we're at the Banking Bros channel. If you're on FB, Facebook, you might see us at the Cash Compound channel or rebroadcasting in our private group, Infinite Bankers, or on IG as the Banking Bros. We got my bro here in the studio with me. That is Jesse W. Durham. That's whole life. Put some respect on it.
That's right.
And Jesse, what's the word this Thursday afternoon?
Whole life, I think.
All right. Well, now I can't hear you as well.
You not hear me?
Yeah, Jesse, you got to talk into that mic, man.
Get right
Okay.
on it, maybe, Jesse.
Yeah,
Did that help any?
Yeah,
Did
it
that
helps
make a
some.
difference?
yeah,
I'll do
yeah.
it.
We got you loud and clear now.
Okay,
Yes,
there
sir.
it is.
Okay,
And
perfect.
my real brother, we got Jonah. He's coming to us from the home office today, or he's at Professor X's Nick Fury home of gifted children and ones
Yes.
who can't read too good
Nope,
out there
this
for
is
my
just a home
Zoolander
office.
friends.
You can catch the reflection of the Lakers jerseys in the television back there.
Lakers
Fun
and fun.
Fun fact, not sure that TV's been plugged in over a year. Don't use it.
Oh, well, hey, put it in. Hey, get some
Wall art.
cash money out there. Yeah, some wall art. Have it kind of cycle through one of my favorite topics to chat about. Got to be careful the way we talk about money around here because money isn't everything. Money is not everything. The love of money is the root of all evil, but money is very important and it needs to flow in your life. So I love to chat about money. I'd love to get my finances in the right frame of reference. And speaking of frame, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the F word today. Jesse, you missed out last week. We were in Denver at the Money Multiplier annual mastermind events. It moved from Nashville in 24 to Denver in 25. It was a great time. Jonah and I actually pulled off a travel day, a true travel day before the events, and that kind of changed things for us. Jonah, how did you feel about the length of time that we were there?
I felt great about it. Actually, it felt kind of long. I normally am not gone that long. After about the third day, I was thinking, we've been here a while.
That's what Jesus said. And then he rose again. That third day, he was like, I'm done. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you believe, put a shout in there. Those redeemed of the Lord say so. And everybody else, if you were maybe in Denver with us, anybody out there in the chat? Remember, you can always throw your information in the chat. Let us know where you are, where you aren't, what you need to know, what you already know, what you think you know, that just ain't so. Any of those things can go inside the chat, and we'll cover them. We'll chat about them. What's up, Casey? We see Casey out there. I'll put a little something on the screen for us.
I got it. Casey
Okay.
gave us some exclamation. But that's a good picture, Casey. Casey's over there watching us on YouTube right now. And Casey's got a wave runner kind of hitting a wave going up. That's good. That's a good photo.
So.
After my own heart right there. I love some activities.
Okay, hey, we got some redeemed of the Lord out there.
Yep, I
Yep.
see the
On
praise hands.
Thursday. I love the praise.
Yep.
Is that what that's called? Praise hands?
That's what
Yep.
it makes me think of.
Okay,
Jake
now Jesse,
Thompson
what
says
was
amen.
going on back at the homestead? We know home for you is North Carolina, just beyond the South Carolina border, where our headquarters is here. And tell us what was going on last week. Some of the conversations you had before Jonah and I talk about our presentation in Denver.
Yeah, it was a full house. I had our 3 children and my 2 nephews. So lots of family time in.
Okay, did you now when you're with your kids, I know your kids, legacy, family planning and all that, and literal family planning, you guys are having a new baby coming up before the end of the year. What are some of the things that you like to do with the kids? I know you love your kids. I love your kids. They've come in, they've been a part of what we've done around here. Now, are there any lessons learned, object lessons out there? Is it like the end of Full House when like we have the moment together where we're kind of half semicircle, the camera's got to see us, and we're like hugging because we've learned something. Somebody got disciplined for something crazy. Somebody,
Jesse, while you answer that one, make sure you answer Casey's question too. If
All
you
right.
can.
All right. So interested in what y'all are doing. Great. Glad to hear it. I might have missed the question. I saw the praise hands, the praise
No
God.
question. Sorry. Just make sure you at least introduce what we've got going on, why we're here, right?
No, absolutely. So what we're doing here is we're talking anything personal finance. Okay. Anything personal finance. We teach people about this idea of becoming your own banker with guaranteed cash flowing products. Okay. Whole life insurance. That's what we're doing. We're having a conversation about how you can save your money and spend somebody else's. So I'll answer your question, Jadu, by talking about conversations with my boys more and more recently. I've got young boys, but they're in those double digits now, 10, 12. So they have an interest in money. They have an interest in how we do things as a family. So we talk about how we do things financially because we don't want to not talk about how we do things as a family in these generations. Okay. Which is maybe different than prior generations.
For sure.
We don't want them to be starting from scratch. So we teach them about this idea of saving whatever it is you earn. Because my boys earn around home. They do chores. They work with Papa. If Papa's on a construction site, just whatever. So saving your money, but still having access to money for your spending wants or needs at the same time. So whether it's the interest in the Pokemon cards, whether it's I want this 0-turn mower.
The same thing in my house. Jonah's the same thing, right? You got Pokemon cards.
Pokemon cards are ridiculous right now.
There's apparently a Pokemon revival going on, right? But we're talking about those two things and how they can actually happen at the same time. You can save your money, you can grow it, you can compound it for your whole lifetime. And they get an earlier start than maybe we started this process, right? But then at the same time, we do get to talk about what are we doing for your birthday? How are we purchasing that thing? How are we doing the other thing? Yeah. So give us a follow-up question, Casey, if you have a specific one as well, please.
Yeah, Jake wanted to give me a shout out for finally liking a Facebook group post. Jake, I do like the post, but anyway, I don't know. I know like 2 weeks ago I said I was going to like them, but just in case you need to know about our private Facebook group, we've got one. It's called Infinite Bankers. It's on Facebook. You can absolutely get in there and chat with us, ask us questions, tell us about what you're up to and what you're doing. I think we'll talk about one of these questions a little bit later on in the show. I posed a question in there, and I got a couple of responses that I think are going to be worth talking about. So, Jake, yeah. I finally liked one. All right. Leave me alone.
We are all. I always have to apologize to our internal team, Jake, because there's a lot going on around here. All of us are personally producing conversations. In the world we live in and the products we talk about, producing is the normal verb. We're producing conversations, producing cases, producing contracts with people, and we're busy. So guys like Jake, who love to be involved and love to use social media. Some of you are like, hey, I barely use social media, but this might be interesting. It gets overwhelming to get in all those DMs. It gets overwhelming to get those posts. So I put a post on a native post into TikTok this morning. How many of you posted something into TikTok? Got a little captions going. Jonah, have you posted in TikTok natively?
Natively in TikTok, I've done it before. Yeah, I haven't done it recently.
Right, yeah, it's a lot. All I'm saying, it's a bunch, and I did it for the first. Let me get something in TikTok. Yesterday, I did a native post on IG, Instagram. So, very good. Okay, hey, Casey's got her follow-up question you asked for, Jesse. So go for that, and then we'll get into some other things.
Yeah, great specific question. What amount
or his? I'm not sure if it's a his or hers. It's so blurry. I apologize. So,
what amount of money do I need to have to start this? Well, my answer to your question would actually be another question. What do you mean by this? If you could let us know where you're at in the process of, have you read this book that I talked about? Have you seen our introductory presentation? So I would always point you to a resource, right? If you've not read this book for yourself, read this book for yourself. We've got links on all of our channels, website, etc. But we've also got a Vanguard. It's a video, right? It's at the top of the pyramid. That's where you need to go first. It's the first piece of content that I would recommend you to. And it's what I saw, but 10 years ago. All right. It's just see this information for yourself. But if you have seen that presentation video, or if you have read this book, then that's where actually your next step would be a free private consultation call, where I'm going to address your question here, and we'll probably give multiple perspectives on it. But again, the resource material, and you can always have a private consultation call with us, of course, because our philosophy is that you should have a plan, a strategy, a system, a contract that's designed just for you. So we want to know, what are your goals? What are your plans, etc. To give you a high level answer, I say that the amount of money should be an amount that is reasonable for you. It's logical. It makes sense. Okay. Based on your cash flows, but it's also a number that's imaginative enough, ambitious enough that maybe you raise your eyebrows a little bit, that you begin to think big. Okay. So I think it should strike that balance right there. Okay. This is the amount that I'm going to be capitalizing, building. This is what I'm committing to. This is what I want to do to get started.
There you go. So we got a follow-up thought here. Being my own banker. Good. You know some of the lingo, the terminology, Casey. Maybe you've been doing some homework. What I would suggest on a really basic level is, one, yes to everything he said. Here's a different way to consider it. And if I had said, I think we can interchange around here. If I had said what he had said, he might say what I'm about to say, because we all can help people. And on these one-on-one kind of free consultations, we're going to go through all of these things. It'll be a longer answer, of course, for you. And I would say, well, out of all the dollars that you make in probably a month, how much of it can you keep? Save? How much of it does not go out the window? His word for that was cash flows. So you've got to eat, you got to get to work, you got to maybe buy a new shirt every other month, and you got to take care of the kids. If it doesn't have to be spent immediately on your immediate family's needs, how much of it is kept? We're going to start to talk about where it's kept, why it's kept there. Are you keeping dollars in places that are not as efficient or as imaginative? They can't do things because they're locked up for a long time or something like that. So one easy way to consider it is, well, hey, Casey, out of all the money you make, 100% of the money you make, how much of it can you save? Do you save? Let's start talking about that number.
It's good.
Yeah, I think goals are really important. I was going to actually tell a story. So just earlier today, I was chatting with a young lady. She's had a policy, becoming your own banker style policy for 6 years. 2019 is when it started. She's had it the whole time. Still in good standing, doing great. And she expressed her goals to me. That was like the whole gist of our conversation, her goals. So let me tell you what she told me. I won't tell you her name, so that way she's watching, right? But she said, Mom's 98 and she's on her last legs. There is some money being passed down, so that's amazing. I'm 70. I've owned my policy for 6 years. My kids are grown, but they don't understand, and I'd love them to understand, because I'm going to pass them some money here. Mom's passing me money. I'm going to pass them money. Like, this is a thing that's going to happen. So I need them to understand. Mm-hmm. When we were talking through her goals, she's still working at 70, husband, same age or just older. And she does not want to be working. Right. And so the conversation actually went down. It started with becoming your own banker, and the conversation took some twists and turns, because there's some other guaranteed products out there that might be beneficial for her at 70 years old, about to get past money, doesn't want to be working, that we need to talk about. Not only that, we need to be very strategic about how we're going to introduce being a banker to your family. So she said, actually, you know what? I want to start the policies on my adult children. I'll own them and control them. We'll teach them as I own them and control them. And then hopefully in a few years, they're ready, we'll give them to them. And I said, that's amazing. And so she asked a very similar question. Okay, well, how much money do I, how would you do it? How would I set it up? And here's what was fun. Because she's got some money being passed down, we were going to use that money to start the policies. Does that make sense? So she already knew that she was going to get the money and she wanted to be able to keep it. And so we were going to use that money to start policy. So that was pretty cool. But just this conversation that I had this morning, just about helping people kind of understand. Jesse said, we got to know your whole process in order to, your whole life. We got to know what you're shooting for, where you're headed for, in order to actually be able to walk you through, like, oh, then you should do this, or start here, or you should think about this, or we should, move you toward this, or something like that. So anyway.
I think that conversation about inheriting money gets us to our core topic content for today. Jonah, let's put it on the screen here and see if we can advance it for everybody. Jesse, we were in Denver and we gave everybody part 2 of the anthology. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, the F Word presentation, volume 2, the reprise, the remix, the junior. Jonah, you were just bringing in a conversation you had this morning. I had one 2 nights ago was it yesterday? Of a lady who is very concerned, different person. We're talking to real people out there. She's in the state of Maryland, I believe. And her mother is of age where, she might be singing Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. And so if I can advance these slides, which I think maybe
you should be able to, me.
Let's it's on my second screen, which I can no longer see. No, I can see, but it's there.
I actually expected you to jump in earlier when Jonah said she's on her last legs.
You know what? I thought it.
It's like, what other
she's
legs
on her
does she
last
have?
legs at 98.
Well, to be clear, it's her daughter who said those words. I did not make that up. I did not say it first. Her own daughter said, no, mom's out of here. It's very shortcoming.
It's just the wording that's funny.
Yeah.
But I love the intention, of course.
Okay.
Behind the plan.
There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, don't run away. We've got a lot of
fantastic.
Yes, right. We've had a lot of references here to church going people here, but our presentation, Use the F Word, is obviously provocative. We're trying to be fun, and if you have conversations with us, we poke fun at each other. We try to have a good time. It may not be your typical financial financial conversation that you've had up to this point, but there's Shane. Okay.
Yeah, Shane's been commenting a couple of times.
Yeah, the F Word presentation, eye-opening and fun to watch. So Shane was with us.
Awesome.
Yes, Shane was on stage actually and gave his story as well. So it took me a second. I'm like, no, Shane. That's why I recognize the name. So we did the F Word presentation, and what this is, it's a provocative way to look at the word finance. Mm-hmm. Or fund. How many of you realize that's what we're looking at here? You recognize that? Oh, that's the GoFundMe logo. Because we have been in positions, all of us online, where we've seen some other family struggling because they were not prepared. Yeah. Maybe they were prepared to be a good parent. Maybe they were prepared to be, let me get back into this church language, a good spiritual counselor, but they were not prepared financially. Mm-hmm. For their family. And so they get to that point where, oh no, it is GoFundMe time. GoFundMe time. And they end up in that position where they're looking to charities, church members, or the community, those 3 C words, to try to help them because they could have prepared and didn't. Obviously, we're not making fun of folks who were struck with something at a time and in a way they could not prepare. But when we're talking about the core products from insurance companies, we're talking about being aware and educated to prepare in advance. Mm-hmm. That GoFundMe account. So this family that Jonah's talking to, the family that I was speaking to, we're looking at a generation. They're in that sandwich generation, right? This lady who's 70, Jonah, I heard that's called the sandwich generation. And that means they got people they're taking care of on both ends of the spectrum, right? And it looks like they're prepared. How would you kind of introduce this GoFundMe idea and what happens to a lot of people and where we went with this presentation?
Yeah, so I mean, the cool thing about chatting with this lady is that she obviously knew what she was going for. Like, I'm going to get money. I'm going to make sure I'm passing money on to my family members, my 2 sons, and I think she said only 2 grandkids, 2 sons, 2 grandkids. So we talked about everybody, but the cool thing that I thought for her was she was like, well, I've really got 2 financial goals, literally just 2. I don't want to be working and I want to make sure the kids get money. I mean, that was it. And so it just became very clear how we can influence, how we can help her, what we can start to think about. So one of the things that I thought was fun, and so you're watching and you're interested in this, you let us know, but I literally set a plan with her on how we're going to introduce to her sons. I said, listen, let's do a 3-way text or 3-way email, whatever you like, introduce me. And then what we'll do is we'll set up a Zoom call and we'll walk them through what mom is doing and what they are inheriting. That's it. She's like, I really want them to know and this and that. And I said, what we need to do is introduce them to what you're doing and what it's going to be for them. Right. And then after time, as we walk through it, I said, let's set like regular cadence. And after time, as we walk through it, if they catch it, they catch it. And if they don't, they don't. But let's not do what we've made mistakes on helping people in the past, right? Let's just call and say, Mom's doing it and you've got to do it and listen and figure it out in one day. I said, no, let's just not do that. Let's start it, Mom, and then let's let them catch it as we do it together. But let's start to involve them, because if they're getting all the money, if they're inheriting, then they should know, right? And so that'll be fun as we go through that. But again, that call was just this morning, so a lot of those things haven't happened yet, but we will be doing them shortly. So
All right. So Jonah, you just introduced our next slide. Put it up on the screen here.
I got you.
If you haven't, ladies and gentlemen, ever had an effing family reunion, it's time to have a facilitator, another F word there, like Jesse,
Fabulous.
a fabulous family. That's what we're looking for. But what we're trying to talk about here is a financial family reunion. I don't know where you thought we were going with that. Get your head out of the gutter, as they used to say. Right? A family financial reunion. We get together for Thanksgiving is coming up. We're making those plans right now. We're making those holiday plans for the winter break. And we need to have a strategic conversation at one point about the family's future. Maybe you recap. We do this. Now, at Thanksgiving dinner, we're going to sit around the table. And we're going to say, hey, everyone say something they're thankful for. Right? I mean, that's standard. That's America right there. Right? Before we watch the football game, before we complain about the mac and cheese and the cranberry juice. You were supposed to bring the cranberry sauce, came out of a can. You know all that stuff.
I think also the can's the best one, man.
We have problems in our family, our larger family, about that, because there are some canned people out there and there are some homemade people out there. So the financial family reunion, something we can facilitate with you to help you on your journey with your family, even grown people. That maybe you have not spoken to. So here's the conversation I had last night. There was a lady who was on our webinar. We have a new webinar series. Everybody throw in the chat if you want to see it or get access to it or something like that. We'll help you connect. And our newest webinar series, somebody got on my phone last night before, and she said that she had to go. Her mother, who's still living, who's old, she took her to the bank to have her sign some papers about the way her accounts were set up for her and her brother, but her mom would not talk about it, wouldn't say anything. So she says, here's the problem. I think and know there's money coming my way. She's paid off her house, for instance, but I don't know. She will not have that conversation. Put in the chat if you live in that world with your parents. You come from a family with those people still hanging on. That generation of folks who say, we don't talk about religion. We don't talk about sex. We don't talk about finances, even if we have them. So she says, I don't know what to do or how to plan because my mom won't have the conversations with me. And I said, hey, that's an interesting perspective. A lot of people are probably there, and many of them actually, interestingly enough, come from two camps. We don't talk about it because we shouldn't. I don't want to spoil you. And the other people we don't talk about because we don't have anything. And the problem with the former, where this lady was, is I don't know how to plan. I don't know what to talk to my brother about. I don't really understand what we're going to, at the funeral, that's when the arguments are going to start. Or at the long-term care conversation, if mom gets to the point where her faculties are not able to, handle everything herself, do it all on her own. I mean, we don't know what we're supposed to be doing. We don't know what we're going to be handed. Anybody out there like that? Okay, the next topic out there, let's go up on the screen here. We talked about FU money. Now, you've heard of FU money before, right, Jesse?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is FU money to you traditionally?
It's a level of money to where you do what you want, when you want, how you want, regardless of what anybody else thinks or does.
There you go. Okay, FU money. Now, before you were in the family of financial coaching with us, what was FU money to you? What was some of your dreams and hopes? What was that dream car, that dream place to live, that dream trip with your family?
Yeah, it'd be. So I am from North Carolina. So the Biltmore Estate is a popular place in North Carolina. So it would be what would be our version of that, right? The estate, the space, the ability to be that central hub for our family, and that would include financially as well.
All right,
Something
Jonah.
like that. Our version of
Jonah,
that.
historic FU money topic. FU money topic for you. What were you going to drive? Who were you going to go meet? What were you going to buy if you had FU money?
You know, I wore a shirt yesterday. One of the comedians that I follow was selling shirts like 2 years ago. They were on sale. I bought this shirt for $10. I wore it yesterday. My son really likes it. It says "Dreams don't die" a bunch of times. Dreams don't die, and then kind of overlaid it says "We stop chasing them." So for your question, I got to go back to when I was a little kid. I guess FU money is the house that's got a room with trampoline floors. I drew trampoline floors and all the, if I'm going to design my house as a kid, there's a room with trampoline floors. And you know what? I let that dream die because I stopped chasing it. So I'm bringing it back. Trampoline floors
Let's go.
I never even heard of that.
Okay,
I've
so
never heard.
So on that note, has anybody ever out there, let us know in the chat, especially if you're older than these guys. I can't trust these guys. But have you remember that movie, The Toy? Richard Pryor. Some of you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-mm.
The Toy, Richard Pryor. That dude. So Richard Pryor becomes caregiver, nanny to this super rich kid. And that kid's room is the room that I used to draw as a kid. That kid's room. Okay. Yes. All right. So I gotta find something for you guys out there. So Shane, shout out to Shane, says he went to church and worked hard with his family, but not a lot of conversation around any of what you're covering. So he grew up I think he's saying he grew up in a family that were good people, right? Trying to teach the good way, but there wasn't a lot of awareness or education on finances. Now, a lot of reasons for that is not because your family didn't want to. They didn't know. The reason they could teach you things about church is because they went weekly.
Sure.
There was a commune of churchgoers every Sunday for 2 hours, 3 hours, 10 hours if you're black, right? And we talked about it. So it was like easy to get in conversations later at home because you're like, hey, that's not what the preacher said, right? Let's sing the song together. We don't have any finance songs. We don't have any finance preachers. So that's why we come and we have our weekly meeting right here. Let's bring it back up. FU money here. More specifically, when we're talking about FU money, we are talking about fund you money, the money that's required to fund all your dreams, to make sure you can take your family to the Biltmore and dream about it, to make sure you can get that trampoline floor in your dream bedroom. We're talking about money that's required to build your faith, build your family goals, to do things with your friends for fun, to make sure your mental and physical fitness is on track. It takes money. So that's the finances or your job, right? That's maybe your vocation there at the end. That we're talking about FU money around here is just provocative in a slide, but remember that money is required for all of these things. Yep. We just live in a world where that's the transactional piece of the property is you got to get a way to exchange the value quickly, and we use money for that. We use notes. They're actually called notes, or if you're swiping, of course, it's just digital numbers. But that's what we're talking about. Okay, Jake, do you have something to say up there? Jonah, respond to Jake for us. What we got?
Yeah, he says, grew up being told to have good work ethic, work hard, right? But nothing about savings, nothing about financing. I relate to that also. I feel like our parents, right, Jeremiah? I mean, mom, for sure, many a summer day, go get out, leave the house and don't come back till you have a job, right? And so that's the work ethic. You're going to go start a business. I mean, whether it's mowing grass, selling popcorn, all sorts of ideas she used to throw at us as we're leaving the house. Hey, people like popcorn, as the door closes.
As she locked us out the house.
Yeah.
Now, Jesse, we've had some of these conversations in front of you, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's real. It's real. And my favorite part about that now, as I'm grown, I'm 40, I have my own kids. Jonah, he's grown, he has his own family, is how not entrepreneurial our mom is after all of those suggestions. Because we became entrepreneurs. She was speaking life into us, apparently. We thought it was death and destruction at the time. Yeah. That's for sure. But we're entrepreneurs now. We own multiple businesses. Jonah's got businesses. I've got businesses. We do business together. We've got partners. All these great things are happening. But man, what was missing at that time was a structure and a framework. Throw it up on the screen. The next idea that we weren't ready for is how we needed to put in the effing work.
Mhm.
Put in the effing work. You might think that this is sweat equity or labor. It wasn't. It wasn't that. We had some work ethic because mom made us rake the leaves and mow grass and stuff like that. But the effing work we're talking about here, Jesse, is, take a guess because you haven't seen these slides.
Financial.
It is the founding work.
Founding, I
Put in
like
the
it.
founding work. You pulled it up a little bit earlier. The founding work that we did not understand was bankers, being a banker, where to house our money that we made. So you held up the book a little bit earlier, Jesse. That is the format, the guide that we are talking about around here. Becoming your own banker, putting our money in a place where there are 8 ideals. We talk about those 8 ideals all the time. And when we understand banking is a verb that we are not bred to control, because a third-party institution like the government, like Fannie Mae, Sally Mae, like the financing company that owns your car note, and like the traditional bank that owns your mortgage or your credit card issuers, they control banking in your life. And if you put in the founding work of doing some research about being the bank, what the bank is, how to take control of the bank, how to grow a banking system, it'll change everything for you.
Definitely.
I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, so I just relate a lot to what Shane put on the screen, right? No foundational conversations about saving, no foundational conversations about financing. It was like, saving. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I suggest you do it. But that was basically the extent. And so a lot of that, now being a dad, you want to change that for your kids, right? That's like a big driving factor. I want to make sure that they've got some foundational value. So you're going to love this. Okay. So Shane, if you're still watching, you'll actually like this too. Okay. So Shane, I believe he's got a Turo business, and this last week or last 2 weeks or so, I've had an extra car and I've been thinking about maybe putting it on Turo. Because again, I value cash flow, and I know that it's a paid off car. So, I can put it on Turo and I can start to use it and collect some money, and right, I value it. So I've been kind of wrestling with it. I had it sitting in the driveway. My wife's driving it. It's an electric car, so my wife's driving it, save us some dollars and stuff like that. And I was talking to my 7-year-old. My 7-year-old has a little bit of money knowledge, financial knowledge. He's got just a little bit, but that's what he likes, right? So I was talking to him about it. And I said, well, listen, man, all the offers, I put the, VIN number online. All the offers I'm getting for the car are, around 20, 25,000, that sort of thing. But I'm thinking about putting it on Turo because we can make some money every single month if we do that. And he says, well, if you sell it, can I have $1,000? And I said, no. He said, can I have $100 if you sell it? And I said, well, tell me what you're going to do with it. If I were to give you $1,000, what would you do? Well, I'd buy some stuff and then I'd help you out. That's his answer, 7-year-old, on the way to school. I'd buy some stuff, I'd help you out. And I said, how much would you save? Would you save anything? And he said, I might save like 200. My daughter, 5-year-old, from the back seat, 200, I would save 500, Daddy. Did you not? I'm like, Jalen, my 7-year-old, you're losing. What's going on here, buddy? And then I asked him some more, right? And I said, well, what would you buy? Oh, I don't have anything in mind. I would just buy things. Well, how would you help me? You said you're going to help me. Well, I don't know. I just help you with some of the bills around the house or something. I don't know. You have to tell me how to help you. And I was like, okay, I like the thought process up to this point, but anyway, that was just on my mind because one, I saw Shane and I was like, Turo was on my mind heavy in the last 2 weeks, whether or not I wanted to do that. And then also just the philosophy that trying to pass on to the kids. Right. And I love that my daughter, the only time she tuned in the whole conversation was to one up her brother by saying how much she would save, which I loved so much hearing that from her. So
it's good though. But if you could float a popcorn idea to them, on that back end of, well, can you identify a problem where you could help Daddy out? That's awesome. That direction of thinking as well.
Yeah. All right. Shane's got something for you, Jonah, here. Maybe we need to talk about that a little bit more. He says, Turo's been good to me. you could earn a solid return. Mine averages $1,000 per car right now. Plus the kids get involved. Now he has a family that was at the event. That was a beautiful thing.
Yep.
One of the only people who brought several children to the event. The whole family was right in the middle, very engaged. And he's been running Turo. Tell us more. I know, Shane, we can't bring you to the forefront. So give us more. How many cars on Turo? How long you've been doing it? But $1,000 per car. So we know he had several.
Tell me,
Jonah's got
tell me
one.
more too about what the kids are doing. Are they cleaning them? Are they washing them? Are they, what?
Driving them to the pickup spot? Do you leave them?
Yeah.
Do you have like a central pickup spot where you're doing it?
Yeah.
I got a friend who drops his Turo car at the wing stop. And so he gets some wings while he drops them off. So
anytime I've done Turo, I've always picked them up at the airport. Always picked them up at the airport. 3 cars, 3 years, 3 kids, clean, deliver, etc. I love it.
It's a triple threat. It's the Trinity right there.
I love it. It's very good. No, I totally get it. If I had a little bit more bandwidth or the people to kind of manage it for me, I probably would have done it. But I was filling out all that information on their website, and then my brain started saying, Jonah, this is work. You're gonna have to do this also.
So one of the things you're looking for is passive. So Shane, how passive is it for you? That's what Jonah is considering there. We're looking at building our passive income, not reserves, our passive income to a place where we don't have to do active work forever. And when your passive income is high enough, or you're doing the things you want to do, then you're free, right? Yep. So 3 cars, 3 years, 3 kids. He says he normally brings them to the airport.
Yep.
3 years.
That's pretty good. I like it.
Makes me think about people like Jim Rome talking about, 2 ways of earning: people at work and money at work. Well, the quicker we can latch onto that idea ourselves and implement it, and the sooner we have these conversations with our children,
yep,
and share that education, share that foundation with them as well, then we can perpetuate some pretty cool stuff.
Getting away from some of the provocative stuff, let's have a chit chat here about the 8 ideals that I mentioned inside the products that we love so much.
Yep. Fairly passive. Car wash, drive to airport, hour on prep and delivery.
I love that.
That's pretty good.
You got to convince Jonah.
That is pretty good. I can throw it in, man, but it's vertical. So here it comes.
Many of you have heard us talk about the product, this thing that's 200 years old that none of us understood coming up in the world. Mm-hmm. We didn't ever talk about in school. Once we got out of school, our friends, either 1 or 2 friends tried to sell us this product, whole life insurance, and the other 98% of our friends told us it was a ripoff. I understand. Right. The reason we are going to have this chit chat with you and with our children generationally and our parents. We talked off we started this hour off at the top of the show talking about 2 clients' mothers. Why in the world would we use a product like whole life insurance? If you are 98 years old and you're passing money down in an insurance inheritance, it's not term. You don't have term insurance. What are those 8 ideals? All right, we're going to go back and forth between these guys. I'll give them 4 each. Jesse, we'll start with you. Talk about ideal number 1.
Okay, the ideal of it being guaranteed. So I love whole life insurance in that its guarantees permeate a few different aspects. One is the death benefit, of course. So you've got a death benefit that is a guaranteed payout with a whole life insurance policy. And since that's guaranteed, that means that you have a guaranteed cash value of that death benefit. And that cash value is something that you have a guaranteed access to leverage over your whole lifetime. So at the end of the day, you've got this guaranteed payout to the next generation or your heirs, beneficiaries, whoever you designate. And you yourself, the owner of that policy, you have a guaranteed growth and access to leverage that growth.
Let's go. Jonah, ideal number 2, uninterrupted compounding.
Yeah, this one's fun. We've all heard of this, and Einstein's got that quote, right? Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. What I love about receiving uninterrupted compounding inside of the policies is I don't actually know of another place to get it. We've heard it, it's popular. This is not something, if you say uninterrupted compounding to someone on the street, they know what you're talking about, right? But I bet you they don't know where they can get it. And so one of the things that I love most about whole life insurance is that it offers uninterrupted compounding on any dollars that you place into the policy. Literally, it offers uninterrupted compounding on those dollars in a couple different ways, which we'll talk about probably in some of these other ideals. But I love that because how else do you get it? How else would you get it? I've saved up money before in my local bank or credit union, whatever you like to use. And then it was not uninterrupted because as soon as I needed something, I'm looking at that bank balance going, that's the only way that I can get it. Right. Or I can go finance something, but then I have to repay it. And so my bank balance is still coming down, just comes down slower. And so I really love this ideal because I literally do not know another place where you can get uninterrupted compounding. Might get it for a short period of time, but at some point you're going to go interrupt it, but not inside a whole life.
I love that. So here's what I ask people here as we move to number 3. I ask people, I invite you to put it in the chat, where comparably out there in other financial products, where do you have these two things so far? Compare it as best you can. What's the closest you can get to just these 2 out of the 8 ideals that we specified? Just 2 so far, but you have both of them inside whole life insurance so far. Anybody got anything? Throw it in the chat and let us know. Jesse, number 3.
Liquid. Okay. Yeah. So going back to the guaranteed cash value of a whole life insurance policy. So that guarantee is that it grows. That was the uninterrupted growth that Jonah had, but it's liquid because it's a leverageable value. So it's practically speaking, just 2 simple questions being answered between me and Liquid Capital. I call the insurance company where I own one of these policies and I own several of these policies. And they'll ask me, okay, Mr. Durham from North Carolina, verify who I am. How much of what's available do you want us to send to you? And do you want a check in the mail or a direct deposit into the bank account we have on file? And I tell them and they send it. It's that kind of liquid. A few business days and I've got it.
Love it. Okay. Anybody out there got anything close so far to the first 2, maybe the first 3? Or where did you think, what's the second best product out there? You know, my opinion, this is the number 1 product. What's the second best product? Because we're getting close to some of these things where you can store your cash. Jonah, take number 4, flexibility.
Yeah, flexibility is really a comparative ideal. So here's what I mean. Depending on where you put your money, where a significant amount of people put their money, you lose lots of flexibility. People like as close to guarantee as they can get. People really do like that. I like that. And so some of those things might be treasury bonds. Some of those things might be CDs from your local banking institution. Some of those things might be IRAs or 401ks. And as soon as you put your money into those other plans and programs, you lose a significant amount of flexibility. It just depends on what the rules are and what account you use, what flexibility you also lost, right? Inside a whole life insurance, however, you have flexibility. So things like a contribution limit, like you'll see in an IRA. People love IRAs. The contribution limit is $7,000, right? So there's no contribution limit like that inside a whole life insurance. You can do as much as you wanted to do in that policy. There's flexibility as far as like going back to like Jesse's thing. He just talked about liquidity, being able to access money. Well, you choose something like a 401k and you don't have flexibility in that way, or else you'll get a penalty. I mean, you can, but they'll penalize you pretty good, right? So you lose flexibility that way. Of course, inside of whole life, you just have flexibility. That's a kind of blanket term to say there's a lot of different things you could say are flexible, but in whole life, you basically got them. And whatever else you like to use, you probably are losing flexibility one way or another.
All right, there it is. Shane, if you're still out there watching us, or maybe you're taking a Turo car to the airport, be safe. That airport in Denver is not close to the city. It's out there. Denver is a desert. The whole western part of the United States is a desert. But it was a beautiful place. So he lives in Aurora, as far as I recall. Is that right, Shane? Was it Aurora, Colorado? It just took me there for a second. Here's my next question for you, Shane, specifically. With Colorado is the airport haunted? I was trying to explain to my brother that I think the airport is haunted. So if you're going out to the airport all the time,
Did you
do
see
you
that?
have
Did
demons?
you see that blue horse they had with the red eyes right outside the airport?
Yes,
They
right.
call it Blucifer. I did not realize this. Correct. Blue like stallion up on its hind legs,
Right.
red glowing eyes. Apparently, the gentleman who was Shane, correct me if I get this wrong. The gentleman who was making it, carving it, crafting it, apparently one of the legs fell or something and killed him.
Really?
So his son fixed it, and now it's standing. And he's saying that horse has a horrible story behind it.
Okay,
Correct?
right. Yeah,
And
that's
so
a haunted airport.
Yeah, they
Everybody
literally
knows.
call it.
But it's the most beautiful airport maybe in North America. It is gorgeous.
It was a pretty
Gorgeous
good
place.
airport.
Yes.
It was a pretty good airport.
But
yeah,
that's what Lucifer is.
anyway.
Lucifer was the prettiest angel or something, right? The most beautiful being that God had created was actually the one who became conceited and all that. Yeah. Y'all ain't ready for this conversation. Let's go. All right, we're back to Jesse. Tax advantaged.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tax advantaged.
That's a big one, right? Because Robert Kiyosaki talks about how taxes are perhaps the largest eroder to wealth. So if you want to do something significant, and if you want to do something significant for multiple generations, like we've been talking about our families and our clients and their families, et cetera, you have to address taxes. Well, since whole life insurance predates the tax code, predates the IRS, it has tax advantages that you don't find in other financial vehicles. So technically speaking, the growth in a whole life policy grows tax deferred, but you have tax free access when you're leveraging it the way that we've been talking about. It's something that's liquid. It's something that you can use for financing your business, financing your home, whatever it is that you're already doing in life, using money for. You can do that now from a tax-free environment that you're controlling.
There we go. Jonah, take passive income options. Take that ideal.
Yeah. So options is a great word to put right after passive income. You've got options inside of these whole life policies for passive income. So let me give you my definition of passive income first, right? You don't have to actively work for it. There's nothing that you need to do day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out in order to receive. Again, inside the policy, you do need to exercise an option. So you do have to fill out a form or make a call one time, and then that income can continue to come week after week, month after month, year after year, however you kind of want to set it up. Those options are available on every single policy. I think this is something that a lot of people don't realize. People who have owned their policies 4, 5, 6, 10 years still kind of don't realize because they've been using so aggressively, and we like to teach that use, that they do not realize that this also will provide the passive income. And the use that you've been doing for the last however long you've been doing it is increasing the passive income dollar amount when you're ready to take that passive income, which is a beautiful thing because it's actually two birds with one stone, right? Passive income is another way to say retirement. At some point, the whole goal of retirement is I no longer want to actively work and I need money. People try to accomplish those two things. I no longer want to actively work, but I need money with a big pool, a nest egg. You can also accomplish the same thing. I no longer want to work, but I need money with cash flow. Mm-hmm. And if you go for cash flow, you can probably go a lot earlier than going for a nest egg. It takes a while to accumulate a big pool, right? Takes a while to accumulate 10 million bucks. So then I don't have to work ever, and neither do my kids. Doesn't take nearly as long to accumulate $3,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 per month of passive. It doesn't take as long, right? And once you get that number, I mean, think about the two numbers: 10,000 a month, $10 million. Like, which one's going to take you longer, right? Does that make sense? And so people just don't realize that. So anyway, passive income is something that is amazing and that is available inside of every policy that we help people with. Yep.
Privacy, Jesse.
Yeah, I love this one again because it's property. It's property that you as an individual own. Now, if you're a business owner, your business could own it. If you have a trust, your trust can own it. But at the end of the day, it's a piece of private property. And, well, maybe I don't want to give any other ideals or characteristics away, but
See if
He
you
was-
can isolate it. It's tough sometimes.
Right,
isn't it?
right. Because some
let
of
'em
these
bleed
overlap,
into-
and it's
yeah.
really cool to see
Yeah.
how they connect. But it's a private piece of property. That's it at the end of the day.
All right, Jonah, last one.
I'm
It
ready.
has legacy.
Oh yeah. I think the legacy we're talking about is a financial legacy because you can pass, it's life insurance. You can pass on a bunch of money, but here's the key in the use of the policies, the way that we teach it, you're also, if you teach it appropriately to your family, if you get everybody involved, you're also passing on exactly what we kind of talked about earlier. I think it was Shane who put it on the screen, right? Said the legacy that he wished he had. I'm trying to scroll up, see if I can find it here. Here it is. It's a savings and financing legacy of knowledge you get to pass on also by understanding what this is, how to work it, how it works, what you do with it, what happens when you get money first. And again, that's Jake, not Shane, but thanks, Jake. I appreciate that. But that's exactly the legacy that you can pass on. Of course, there's money to pass on, which is amazing, but you can also pass on the financial principles if you teach your family what's happening and how to do it. And that's pretty cool.
Appreciate you guys doing that. Ladies and gentlemen out there, if you'd like to take our downloadable sheet home with you, put it on the fridge, share it with a +1 or your children, we've got a QR code on the screen. So if you happen to have 2 devices there, just hover over that, and that's free. That's going straight to you. And we appreciate you being here with us for this hour. That was a little bit of the taste of the F word presentation, and thrown in the 8 ideal sheet to help people understand. Hold on, I thought whole life insurance, if that's the product you're talking about, was expensive, what had a bunch of fees, and it doesn't work as well as my market money. I think we've covered all of those things. So we wanted to help you understand why in the world we have chosen to store our wealth and grow our knowledge around money, passive income options, and educational legacy to our family through whole life insurance. Why in the world do we rave about this? The most boring and oldest product that's a financial tool for a person to privately own. Why in the world can we have so many conversations about it every week?
Well, because it's like Shane giving you an F word right there. Did you see that? Shane using an F word with you. But we're trying to teach people how to fish instead of just giving them a fish. Right?
The F word. Give him a fish. And he eats for one day, but you teach a man to fish, and he eats for a lifetime.
That's what we're doing.
Let's go.
Yep. If you want to talk to us, you can click the link in our bio, wherever you're watching out there, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. If you're watching on a separate device, you can scan the QR code in the top corner. That'll take you to our calendar also. These are free calls. We'd love to talk and walk you through your situation. Even if you've started with us and have policies, but you're wondering, well, how do I get the spouse on board? How do I get the kids on board? How do I set up the legacy? How do I set up the plan, right? So I can move forward. And Liz also says there's some conspiracies around that airport.
Hashtag tinfoil.
Right. But now the other thing Liz was talking about, Liz was with us in Denver. She's one of the mentors and coaches on our team. And she kept looking around and saying, it was early in the game. I'm not exactly sure what triggered it, but Liz was like, man, I got to have some kids, I guess. Like I was something like that or whatever. That just, because we're always talking about family legacy, but Liz is a single person who is also utilizing this tool, not just because of legacy. It's because of the other ideals, right? Guarantees, uninterrupted compounding, the liquidity, tax advantages, all of those things apply to a solo person. We have to use money today. Money is moving all around us. And if we don't have kids, she's still using it. Brad, F you, man. Love it. Okay. All right. Peace out, everybody. Let's call it.
See you.
You are now tuned to the banking bro. Said we couldn't make it, drink or settle, this the life we chose. Gave a lot of game, we never got a lot of things. Bow your head and say the prayer, we taught you how to be the bank.